Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into another edition of NFL Offseason Rumors. Figured I would fire one of these up today considering we had the draft yesterday. And guys, I want to talk about every single trade that happened yesterday during the draft, catch you up on everything. But first things first, Lamar Jackson. Wow. So Lamar Jackson last night tweets out, WTF. After Hollywood Brown gets traded for the 23rd overall pick, the Ravens end up taking the offensive center, Tyler Linderbaugh from Iowa with that pick, but Lamar Jackson is pissed. He's due a new contract. The waters are muddled in Baltimore right now, but guys, we've got a report that says Marquise Hollywood Brown asked for a trade after last season behind Lamar Jackson's back. So very interesting stuff. Hollywood Brown not happy in Baltimore. He gets traded. I think Baltimore did all right getting the 23rd overall pick back. They also had to give up the 100th overall pick, which I believe is a third or maybe a fourth rounder for the 23rd overall pick. But if you're Arizona, you can't teach speed, and Hollywood Brown's got a ton of speed. He can get behind defenses. Clearly, Arizona, you're losing Christian Kirk in free agency. Rondale Moore is more of a gadget player. He's simply too small. Certainly, right now, Lamar Jackson, not too happy with the Baltimore Ravens, but if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm telling Lamar, listen, suck it up. I mean, they completely hit 2 home runs, waiting till number 14, getting the value with Kyle Hamilton, who many people believe is assuredly a top 10 player in the draft. And then look, you trade Hollywood Brown. He's not happy there. He requests a trade, and you get back a stud offensive lineman. He is a center, so not great positional value, but Tyler Linderbaugh is a top 15 player in the draft. He would have been a top 15 overall pick had he played guard or tackle and not just center. The only reason he fell was because he was a center. And you've also got Rashard Bateman, who's a young receiver who you invested a first-round pick into last year. You've got one of the best tight ends in the NFL in Mark Andrews. You've got a good young running back coming off an injury who should be healthy and raring to go in J.K. Dobbins. And you've still got a number of great receiver options on the board in the second and third round. David Bell, George Pickens, Alec Pierce. This is such a deep receiver class. I think they will placate and they will draft a receiver for Lamar, but it's clear he was not too happy with Hollywood Brown being traded. Very mad at the Ravens front office. And people read into that considering he hasn't signed an extension. He is his own agent, by the way, and they haven't even talked about a contract extension with Lamar Jackson. So we'll see what happens there. We've got Aaron Rodgers saying the Packers have been in the mix for a possible Deebo Samuel trade, though it seems like the 49ers are unwilling to move Deebo. At this point, it looks like a Deebo deal is dead. And that's due to the fact that the draft is already come and gone. Technically, you could trade Deebo for a 2023 first rounder if things got bad enough. But I'm guessing San Francisco, they know how much Deebo means to their team. They're going to try and work out some sort of contract extension. The latest reports, though, were saying Deebo wants out of San Francisco, which I personally didn't believe. That's something that Ian Rappaport said. He said, it's not like Deebo just wants a new deal. He wants out of San Francisco. Like, the relationship is that bad, which doesn't make any sense considering how San Francisco featured Deebo Samuel, how Kyle Shanahan featured Deebo Samuel in that offense. And as for Aaron Rodgers, this is exactly what Aaron Rodgers deserves. I told Aaron Rodgers, you need to GTFO out of Green Bay. He didn't listen to me. He made me look like a fool. He stayed with the Packers, and this is what happens. You draft Quay Walker, one of the worst picks overall last night at 22 overall. Complete reach when Nakobe Dean was on the board. That's a crime against humanity in and of itself. Then you take Devontae Wyatt. That's a good pick. Let me tell you something. If the Packers draft either Christian Watson or Sky Moore in the second round tonight, I'm giving them an F for their draft, but they still can redeem themselves. They've still got Trey McBride on the board. You've still got Alec Pierce, David Bell. They could get a really solid receiver. We'll see what the Packers end up doing tonight. They have 2 second-round picks. They're both in the 50s. You know, they got one of the picks for Devontae Adams. We know that. So we will see. Aaron Rodgers cannot be too happy with how this has turned out. Just a complete wasted pick with that number 22 overall pick going to Quay Walker. Now, guys, let's get to all the trades that happened last night. I'm going to say who won the deal, who lost the deal. People don't really know what happens because the trades go so quickly, they don't get reported. So this is starting from first to last. We kicked it off with Washington trading the 11th overall pick for the number 16th overall pick. The Commanders traded the number 11 overall pick to the New Orleans Saints for the 16th overall pick, the 98th overall pick, and a 120th overall pick. So honestly, I think the Saints got pretty good value. I mean, giving up the 98 and 120, that's not great, but I think the Commanders, really bad job by them. You're trading the 11th overall pick. You're getting back 98 and 120, but you're using the 16th overall pick to draft Jahan Dotson. That's a major reach. New Orleans saw an opportunity. They wanted to make sure they got Chris Olave. If I was Washington and I wanted to get a receiver at pick number 11, just take Jameson Williams. I understand you got a 3rd and a 4th rounder, but that doesn't offset for me the difference between a Chris Olave, a Jameson Williams, and a Jahan Dotson. I don't know what the Commanders were doing. I think this is a win for New Orleans, and really an interesting move by New Orleans, trading up for Chris Olave, and now they've got Chris Olave and Michael Thomas, and maybe they take a QB in the 2nd round. There's a lot of quarterbacks remaining, including Malik Willis. So that was the first trade. We've got Minnesota trading away number 12 for number 32. This was the deal that landed the Detroit Lions Jameson Williams. The Lions made an aggressive move. They traded their second first-round pick, their second first-round number. So the Lions traded 32, 34, and 66 to the Vikings for number 12 and number 46. So I would say pretty much an even trade, but that is an aggressive move. I actually think Detroit won that trade. I honestly think Detroit won that trade. You're moving up 20 spots from 32 to 12, and all you're giving up is, I guess you are giving up 34 and 66, but you're getting back 46. Guys, this is all really confusing, but I'm going to go ahead and say Detroit won this trade. Minnesota drafting Lewis Cine. I thought that was underwhelming. There were so many players on the board the last pick of the first round. It seemed like they didn't take it seriously. I got the vibe that Minnesota just kind of said, we want to go to sleep, whatever. We'll just, we're not going to put much effort into it. We're not going to put much research into it. It's like a kid doing a project the night before it's due. That's what the Vikings did with the 32nd, with the last pick of the first round. They didn't take it seriously, and it's going to cost them in the future. Lewis Cine, he's decent, but you could have gotten way better players at number 32. It's like they just threw a dart at a dartboard and they said, oh, Lewis Cine is the best player available. You have to put effort into these picks. There was zero effort by the Vikings. They phoned it in. They said it's 11 o'clock at night in Minneapolis. We're going to sleep. Just draft someone, whatever. This is a first-round pick. It's valuable. You need to put effort into it. There's no effort with these teams. Some of these teams, there's no effort. Lewis Cine's not bad, but 32 when you've got all those players available, you've got other secondary players. It seemed a little ridiculous. The next trade, we've got Houston trading number 13 to Philadelphia for number 15. A trade that didn't make a lot of sense because Philadelphia ended up taking Jordan Davis. I guess they thought Baltimore at pick 14 was going to pick Jordan Davis. I do not love Jordan Davis going that high. He has motor issues. He gets tired after 2 plays. But the Texans traded number 13 to the Eagles for number 15 along with a 4th rounder. So the Eagles gave up, to move up 2 spots, the Eagles gave up 124, 162, and 166. That's a great trade for the Houston Texans. Great trade for the Houston Texans. Again, I'm guessing the Eagles really wanted Jordan Davis. And they wanted to make sure Baltimore at number 14 wouldn't pick Jordan Davis. There were a lot of mock drafts that had Jordan Davis going to Baltimore. But this is about the only good thing that Houston did right. I gave Houston 2 F grades on both of their picks. Third overall, Derek Stingley, way too high for a guy that's been injured the past 2 years. And then 15th overall, Kenyon Green. Wow, that's not a good pick. So Houston, that is a good trade they made. They had a really, really bad draft night. And if I was a Houston Texans fan, I would not be optimistic. I'm happy they're tanking. You're starting Davis Mills. You're going to lose 15 games next year. You're going to get a top 2 pick. You're going to get either Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. That's a start. But you should have drafted Akeem Okwonu at number 3 overall. Get yourself a franchise left tackle. At number 13 overall, trade back. Get another first rounder next year if you don't like anyone on the board at pick number 13. The receivers were off the board at that point. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams were all gone. So I understand, maybe wanting to trade back, but just Houston made some bad picks. That trade there, that was a win by Houston over Philadelphia. You move back 2 spots, you get a 4th rounder and 2 fifths. I think that's pretty good, personally. Arizona trades number 23 to Baltimore for Marquise Brown. This is what I was talking about with Lamar Jackson. So Arizona trades 23 and a 4th rounder and number 100. Wait, so Arizona gave up number 23 and picked number 100 for Marquise Brown? I think that's a big win for the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, Marquise Brown, you have to understand, you can't teach speed. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, he runs away from people. We understand it. But you're getting pick number 23 and pick number 100 back for a guy who, let's be honest, he's not an elite receiver. He's an asset for an offense, but he's not an elite receiver. I think the Ravens did pretty good there, and they parlayed it into a franchise-type center in Tyler Linderbaugh, and we'll see what they do with pick number 100. So I would say really good trade there for the Ravens, but Lamar Jackson's not happy. I'm sure they're going to try and help Lamar Jackson, get him a playmaker, get him another receiver. We'll see how good Rashard Bateman is in year number 2, and they also do have Mark Andrews and then J.K. Dobbins coming back off his injury. So they still have weapons, but you are losing that speed dynamic. I think also, Lamar Jackson had a personal relationship with Hollywood Brown, which makes it even more interesting that Hollywood Brown requested a trade after the season. Next, we've got Philadelphia trading number 18 for A.J. Brown. So they trade away the 18th overall pick and the 101 overall pick for A.J. Brown. I really like this trade for Philadelphia. A.J. Brown is a beast. Now, the caveat is you immediately have to pay him, and they have paid him. I believe they gave him his extension, his 4-year extension that he wanted. This is a situation with Tennessee. Listen, if you do not want to pay a receiver $24-25 million per year against the salary cap, that's fine, but they replaced him with Treylon Burks. And if you're talking about one team that I think got significantly worse just from this draft, I'm going to say the Tennessee Titans. You're losing A.J. Brown and you're replacing him with an overrated receiver in Treylon Burks, who I never liked, and you're drafting Treylon Burks at number 18, which is a reach. Yeah, that's just not a good pick. That's not good use of a first-round pick. And I understand the philosophy where you don't want to pay receivers and you'd rather just draft a young rookie and have him for cheap. But you're drafting Treylon Burks. It's just not good value. They were almost better off drafting another position and taking a receiver in the 2nd round if they were going to go that way than panicking, looking at all the receivers. Jahad Dotson gets taken earlier than expected. Chris Olave goes pick 11. It seems like they panicked for a receiver and got Burks, but maybe they wanted Burks. I don't know. Either way, I don't like Burks. I like this trade for Philadelphia. You get yourself a superstar receiver in A.J. Brown. He's a pillar. You do have to pay him, but it's very hard to find receivers like that, and you got a really good one. You did give up a first-round pick. Still a good trade. Next, we've got New England trading number 21 to the Kansas City Chiefs for number 29. So the Chiefs saw Trent McDuffie falling a little. They ended up going to get him. So the Chiefs end up trading number 29 along with 94 and 121 for the 21st overall pick. So the Chiefs, to move up 8 spots, gave up 91 and 121. I think that's a very even trade. It's a very even trade. Good trade by both teams. I'm going to go ahead and say that. If I were to lean one way, I would say probably Kansas City a little bit. I mean, you're only giving up 94 and 121, and you're moving from the back end of the first round, or from 29 to 21, back end of the 20s to the front end of the 20s. You're getting a good corner in Trent McDuffie. I would lean slightly towards valuing Kansas City and valuing moving from 29 to 21. 8 spots is a pretty big jump. You're only giving up 94 and 121. I think that's a good trade. Baltimore trades number 23 to Buffalo for number 25. So Buffalo trades up for Kamar Elam, I guess. Not really understanding that. But they also gave up, the Bills also gave up pick number 130. So that's just a boring whatever trade. Really don't need to talk about that. Moving up 2 spots. Tennessee trades number 26 to the New York Jets. The Jets saw Jermaine Johnson falling. I don't think he was falling. I don't even have Jermaine Johnson inside my top 50 personally, but people were like, Louis Riddick just kept talking about Jermaine Johnson, and they're like, ooh, what a value pick. It's really not a value pick. Jermaine Johnson was never that good. You just overrated him, and he shouldn't even be a top 50 pick personally, but the Jets saw that Jermaine Johnson was there, so the Titans trade they trade number 26 and 101 to the Jets for 35, 69, and 163. So you're going from 26 to 35. You're giving up 101, but you're getting 69. And you get 163. Very even trade. Very even trade. These trades are confusing. They're very confusing. But I would lean slightly towards Tennessee on this one. I think Tennessee did all right because they ended up getting that number 69 pick, 35 and 163. Yeah, you're trading 26. You're moving down 9 spots to 35, but I think they did okay. To me, the Jets tried to be little hipsters like, ooh, we're going to get such great value with Jermaine Johnson and everyone's going to praise us because Jermaine Johnson falls. They're trying to be hipster. Jermaine Johnson was never that good anyways. He was overrated initially by NFL scouts. That's why he fell in the first place. So I don't think it's really that great value, even though they think it was. We've got another deal. Tampa Bay trading number 27 to Jacksonville. The Jaguars traded the number 35 overall pick, the 106 overall pick, and the 180 to Tampa Bay for the 27th overall pick. So you're going down 8 spots and you're getting 106 and 180. I think that's a win by Jacksonville. But honestly, what Jacksonville did taking Devin Lloyd instead of Nakobe Dean, not smart. But I think it's a win. You only have to give up 106 and 180 to move up 8 spots back into the first round. That's a great job by Jackson. Very nice job by Jacksonville. Very good trade there. And that is going to do it. So there were a lot of trades there. I couldn't even understand half of them, but just wanted to talk about those because they went by so quickly. And once we got to pick number 11 in that first trade with the Commanders and Saints, there was about 10 different trades, and everyone was like, what's happening? Who's giving up who? It's just a bunch of pick swaps. And then the 2 big receivers, A.J. Brown and Hollywood Brown, also got traded. We've got rounds 2 and 3 tonight. This is a huge night for everyone. There are so many great players. I talked about it in my last video. You've got Breece Hall. You've got Travis Jones. You've got every quarterback outside of Kenny Pickett remaining. Malik Willis, Carson Strong, potentially my wild card, my QB number 1 for this draft. Very interesting stuff. Who else do you have? Kenneth Walker, the other running back. At cornerback, you've got Kyler Gordon still out there. Andrew Booth Jr. falling to the second round. Not a lot of people projected that. And then at linebacker, Nakobe Dean, who's an absolute superstar, Hall of Fame lock. It's disappointing he fell to the second round. You see horrible franchises like the Green Bay Packers take Quay Walker. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And these teams don't put any effort. They don't put any research into these picks. It's just like the Vikings at pick number 32. They just want to go to bed, so they're like, just take Lewis Cine, whatever, we want to go to bed. You need more effort. We need effort. If I was a Vikings fan, I would be so pissed. We pay these people. the GM's making an absurd amount of money, and you're just going to slop up and say, you know what, it's late, just draft Lewis Cine, whatever. That's despicable. It's disgusting. And, we see these teams like Quay Walker, like, Kenyon Green at number 15 overall. How about number 3 overall with Houston taking Derek Stingley Jr., trying to say, oh, we're better than everyone else. We think Derek Stingley's going to be healthy. Just take Ahmad Gardner. There's no need to take Derek Stingley there. You've got extra added injury risk, and Ahmad Gardner is simply the better prospect. And if you're a scout for Houston and you think that Derek Stingley, based off of the injury history, based off of the play, you think Derek Stingley is a safer, better pick than Ahmad Gardner? I don't know what to tell you. These people, it's unbelievable. But it's just like, oh, we're smart, so we're going to take Derek Stingley because he had an amazing true freshman year. I know he had an amazing true freshman year, but part of having a top 5 pick is understanding the risk with every player. Ahmad Gardner does not have the same risk that Derek Stingley has. And you see these teams just not put any effort into these picks, and they're just slopping guys up there. The one pick that I loved, Cole Strange to the New England Patriots. What a job by Bill Belichick. And then this morning I saw on ESPN that Sean McVay was mocking Bill Belichick, saying that he thought Cole Strange would be available at 104. What a buffoon. What a buffoon Sean McVay is. The Rams have made such a mockery of the draft, not owning any top 100 picks. Oh, we won the Super Bowl. Yeah, you beat a dude in his second year. You beat Joe Burrow, second-year quarterback in the Super Bowl. They think they're everything. The Rams have 0% chance to win the Super Bowl next year, just based off the fact that it's impossible to repeat, but also that comment by Sean McVay, that's just bad karma. You're going to do that. You're going to start laughing at Bill Belichick for taking Cole Strange, who I said was a franchise type guard. He's going to be a superstar. I have him as my number 17 overall player, and people are like, who is this guy? It's because people are ignorant. They don't know anything, and then Sean McVay comes out and is like laughing at it. Guys, these teams, there needs to be consequences for some of these things. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And you see a team like Minnesota, what they do, oh, we'll just draft Lewis Cine. Let's go to bed. You need to put some effort into it. You're getting paid more money. You need to put effort into these draft picks. It's disgusting. You've got someone like Nakobe Dean on the board at 22, and you draft his teammate, Quay Walker, because he's more athletic, because he's bigger. Guys, I could go on all day about these franchises and how poorly they're run, but you know what? It's Aaron Rodgers' fault. Aaron Rodgers has nobody to blame but himself for this horrible situation he's in, and I bet, because they're a horrible front office, they'll probably draft either Sky Moore tonight or Christian Watson. What a horribly run organization the Green Bay Packers are. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.